All right, let's do this. First Ducati was actually an 821 Monster. I think it was around 2016, 2017. It was the all-black Stealth with the quick shift up and down, the Öhlings. It was my first exposure into the brand, and I absolutely loved it. I had been a Ducati fanboy my whole life, so I knew at some point I wanted to get into the brand, but I wasn't sure where to start, since I hadn't ridden for probably around 17 years before I bought this Ducati. Actually, it had been over 20 years since I'd ridden before I got the Monster. When I moved, I sold that 821 and got a X Diavel along with a Victory Octane that I rode for quite some time. A couple of years later, I missed the 821, so I went out and I found this red one with only around 450 miles sitting at a dealer in California that I was able to pick up and get back into it. From a day-to-day commute, a riding ability, the agility, it's just the perfect bike for being around. Definitely has a little bit of that Hooligan quality, a lot of torque, very punchy. It wants to rip. Obviously it's only an 800cc, so it's not going to move that fast, but it does more than enough when you're riding around town. I do really love the sound that the L-Twin makes, especially with the Works Racing exhaust that's on it. I was drawn to the 821 because it looked similar to a cafe style. I'd like to put a drag bar on it to make it go a little bit further into that niche, but I've been on the market for a Sport Classic 1000 for some time, and this is the closest that I could find that would give me a little bit of that sensation and rideability. I absolutely love it. These bikes are underrated, but man, they are a blast to commute. There are so many farms out this way. Not the best for higher speed unless you want to take a little bit of risk. But the scenery is just beautiful, especially when you've got these sensational clear blue skies like we have today. And on these spring mornings, you get all the color of the trees. It's an awesome experience. Awesome little skate park that I just rode past here. that has a half pipe, some vert rails, a little pool. It was awesome to see them build something like that around here. This isn't too far away from where I bought my first house. It was remote enough to have some privacy, but you were 5-6 minutes away from getting downtown to anything that you need. I don't know why I fell in love with the brand for Ducati. Maybe because it's Italian and I love all of the stuff that they produce for the most part. Maybe it's just the name prestige, I have no idea, but I've always liked the brand. So I was happy when I was able to get into it. I've gone through maybe a dozen different models of Ducatis at this point in my life. And the only thing that I have an issue with is that in my area where I live, there are not any Ducati dealers within an hour and a half of me. So if I'm going to take my bike in for service, 9 times out of 10 I'm calling for service to come pick it up and bring it in. Huge inconvenience. It adds quite a bit of an expense. Fortunately, the carriers that are near me, they can do 2 to 4 bikes at a time. So usually I'll just take all of my bikes at once and get them dropped off because it does lower the cost significantly. But that's really the only issue that I've had, is the dealer network out by me is non-existent. Obviously, I probably live in a region where they're not targeting my demographic. To this day, I've not seen another Ducati on the road in the wild, riding around or even, driving throughout the normal course of business, which is kind of insane. The only time I ever see them is if I end up riding one towards the dealership, which again is a couple of hours away. That's the only downside I've seen. Yeah, the maintenance is expensive, and it does have a pretty high interval, but I think it's worth it. Trying to think if I've had any major unplanned issues with any of them. I've owned a good mix of new and used. I think the highest mileage I've ever gotten on one of my Ducatis is around 17,000. But I really can't think of any major mechanical unplanned maintenance or repairs that had to be made. But I am diligent about taking them in every year for service, especially in the spring. I bring them in every spring to make sure that I'm good for the riding season, because I don't want to have that doubt or risk in my mind. I really like this road that I'm on. It's all man-made. On the left and the right you can see the bodies of water. Those were actually gravel pits that closed up maybe 10 years ago, and then they filled them and turned them into lakefronts and dining and beaches. It's a really cool road to ride on. Plus it's nice because it's all new asphalt. remote as I do, the one thing that is absolutely great during riding season is all of these windy roads ripping through the woods and the farm. And you can see there is no traffic. There's hardly ever a car on the road. The only thing is there are police everywhere, and they are constantly getting someone in this area. Probably because there's nothing else to do around here. Appreciate you guys coming on this ride with me. I'm gonna wrap it up here in a second. Until next time, later.